No?
No.
Okay, fine. I'm Saul, he's Paul. We've got a bunch of news, and while we would belabor the point, I think it's probably good that we just start the singing because there is a lot to talk about today.
Yes, a lot. Let's get to it. Let's do the dance.
Well, welcome to Paul and Saul again. I am Saul, he is Paul, and we're going to start with some breaking news this morning. Just got several documents from Northwest Florida State College. They have done a several months long investigation into a bunch of what they call live medications. So these are like real medications that they found on the at the nursing school there at Northwest Florida State College. You'll remember they just had a big remodel of the nursing school, $20 million, graduating 50 people this year alone from that nursing school. And so essentially what happened is there was a whistleblower that came in last July, according to this investigative report that we're going to put up on midbaynews.com after this show, essentially said, hey, to the director of nursing, we found all these live medications. We got to do something. According to the report, that director didn't do anything. So the same whistleblower took it all the way to the top to President Ponder, and he immediately ordered an investigation. After the investigation, they found like, hey, we need to get some stronger policies and procedures in place. They've since destroyed all of that medication. Top line, no law enforcement action, no threatening the accreditation of the school. And both the Dean of Allied Health has retired. It was a pre-planned retirement. And then there was a resignation by Dr. Tanya Beauregard, who is the director of nursing, the nursing program there at Northwest Florida State College. So this is pretty big, but I low-key think it's kind of great how quickly they got this out. I mean, it's never the crime, it's always the cover-up, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the premise, right, is that in a nursing program, you're not supposed to or have the actual drugs on site. So yeah, I mean, shout out. I mean, this is exactly why you need strong leaders, right? So shout out to Mel Ponder for doing what's right here, making this public, shining a light on it rather than burying it, and kind of doing the right thing and resetting the leadership there. Obviously, the long-term goal is to have an incredible nursing program, and this, may be viewed in the short term as a small step backwards, but the decisions and how you handle a situation like this appears like they've handled it perfectly. As soon as it was found out what the problem was, the light was shined in the dark place and exposed it, and now we can move forward with something a lot more positive.
Yeah, I mean, mathematically, bad stuff happens to big organizations. There's just too many moving parts for something not to break down, right? And so for them to move on this, to get new leadership, they have a new allied director, Dean of Allied Health, there it is, that is starting in mid-May. They're still graduating all these kids. They've got higher NCLEX pass rates than just about every school in Florida and just about every school in America. I think it's one of those things that we're going to look back on and say like, hey, they did the right thing. And it wasn't it was a win, because the strong, they handled the crisis well. I was talking to somebody about that today. I think that handling the crisis, because they're going to happen, is just as important as doing the, everyday stuff right.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is an example of, you're going to write the article, and more people will read it and understand what happened. And it won't be something that's in the shadows and something that's hidden from the public, and people wonder if this was a good old boy system or something like that made it all go away. So yeah, shout out to Mel Ponder and all the leadership at Northwest Florida State College and how they handled this situation.
Yeah. Plus, last thought, this also makes this like a one-day story. When you drag it out, it becomes a continuing saga with like some other stuff that I'm probably gonna have to deal with here in the next couple of months. So I big kudos for dealing with the bad thing the right way. Anyway, moving on to something that I know you are incredibly passionate about. It is the ticket price increase over at Okaloosa schools. So all the Okaloosa County high schools, sporting events. So think Baker, Crestview, Choctaw, Fort Walton Beach, Niceville, and Laurel Hill are all Okaloosa County School District public schools. So this wouldn't apply to like Destin High School, which is a charter school, or trying to think of another charter school that would have that. but they have a price increase, my friends. And what does that mean for us here in the Emerald Coast? Well, it means slightly more elevated prices, and apparently GoFan.co going to be making a little bit of money as well. I know you're heated about this. You're not the biggest fan of this choice. I am on the other side of this, but I want to hear your points. I want you to change my mind.
Listen, like I understand that the cost of sports is pretty significant for the counties and seemingly never goes down. But man, it's tough. Like it's tough to swallow these price increases. Like I just know a lot of families who, their student play sports. They already pay all the fees for them to play, equipment fees, and just help with the travel fees. And they're all doing fundraising and they're working hard, and then it just feels like a little bit of a gut punch to be like, hey, now we're going to increase the ticket prices on you and your families. And there are people on a basketball team or who have siblings and they would like to come watch their sibling play that sport. And I know for a fact that the prices were already a problem, and that parents are leaving kids at home, or they're only sending half their family because they can't be spending $50 to go watch their own kid play. And I know at some schools and some places they've done this sort of trade off where they're like, oh, you can buy a season pass, and that pass is like a little bit less. But you know what I would like to see, rather than, I mean, you can raise these prices, that's fine. But like, I would like to see like a family pass. Like your entire family is capped at this max cost. I did the math on this, and like if everyone in my household went to a Niceville football game, it's like $84. And for me, that's not a big deal. But there are definitely some families where even spending $20 on each home game to watch their kid play is a challenge. So I don't love it.
So this is my economic argument against it. Most of these, I went and ran the numbers on the inflation counts. Last time they raised rates, I think it was 5 years ago, they increased it $1. So I think it works out to, depending on the sport and depending on if it's an adult or a student, some of them are above the rate of inflation and some of them aren't. For example, I know the adult football ticket price is below the rate of inflation from 5 years ago. So to me, it's kind of they got to keep up and they got to pay for it somehow. Yeah, I would love it to be, somehow worked into another thing and make sure that we have, make it accessible to everybody. But I think that I know they're doing a student season pass. I don't know if they're doing a family season pass, but I think that's a great idea. But I think this is the cost of, making sure that the lights stay on, they can pay the refs. And I know there's probably plenty of people out there that might watch this and think, Christopher, wow, you're defending the school district. And I'll be like, yeah. So just pointing it out that I'm not like on a mad crazed quest, despite the stories I write apparently that make people angry. So yeah, I think this is a necessary increase. I would prefer it to raising the costs on the individual players themselves, because like for football, a lot of people that are going there, I don't have any kids on the football team, so I'm helping out in that way. So yeah, but I get it.
Well, here's what's happening, because I already know what's happening, right? So games like when we play away at Choctaw or Fort Walton Beach or anywhere close by, if the game is being streamed anywhere, people are just deciding to stay home and watch it rather than going to the games because it's cheaper.
Mhm.
And to me, like that's just sort of sad. It's sort of against kind of bringing the community together and using sports in that form or fashion. And I just don't think this is helping. And like when we have home games, there are young kids who would love to come just for the first half, right? Because it's bedtime and they need to go home and go to bed sooner. Now, none of those kids are going to come because you don't want to pay for them, and you pay even more for them now, and then you're leaving during halftime, right? So I don't know. I think if it's necessary, it's necessary, but I don't think it's net positive for the families who are trying to bring their siblings and extended family to these games.
Yeah, well, friends and Romans and countrymen at home, put your comments in there. Is this a good idea or a bad idea? We'd love to know. Obviously, we're split on it, and that's not a bad deal. At least we get to talk about it. So put your civil, respectful comments down in the comment. You can be mean to me or maybe Paul. I don't know. I prefer you not be mean to Paul. But let us know what you think. Is this a ripoff, or is this just good business to make sure everything stays on the rails? Let us know. And while you're typing up the comment, I'm not going to talk about anything new. Instead, You're going to hear from our sponsors over at Eglin Federal Credit Union. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring this, Paul and Saul.
You should be a member at Eglin Federal Credit Union because they have great service and they make a positive impact in our community.
They're a very reliable service and they're very local and convenient.
I think the best part is feeling like you're not just a customer, you're actually a member, which makes you feel part of the family.
The people and the personal service that we get every time we walk in the door, we feel like we're home.
Must be 18 or older to join online. Eglin Federal Credit Union, where members matter most.
Well, welcome back, and thanks again to Eglin Federal Credit Union for making this show happen. It's their sponsorship that allows us to talk about the news and let you know what it is and break it out into a bunch of little clips so you can see it quickly. But speaking of things that you can see and do quickly, I have a new series on our website brought to you by another sponsor, Okaloosa Gas. We are doing History of the Emerald Coast. Big win for us because we get to talk about one of my favorite things, the history of the Emerald Coast. The first one covers the Civil War over at Camp Walton. I played around with AI to give you a little preview. Oh.
Get down behind the mount. Incoming. Take cover.
So you might be thinking to yourself, why is he generating AI videos of people from 1860? Our first story in this series is about the shelling of the Fort Walton Temple Mound by Union soldiers firing on the Walton Guard, a bunch of Confederates over there. The Confederates would flee to Boggy, Niceville, before coming back 3 weeks later to take up their positions. But we were not a hot spot in the Civil War, the geographic area of the Emerald Coast, but we did have some stuff, including Destin being arrested by these same Walton Guards and taken to Freeport. A bunch of interesting stuff happened here in the Civil War, but also a ton of interesting stuff took place with people from here in many of the Civil War's great battlefields, everywhere from Perryville to North Georgia, people from, I believe, let's see, everywhere from Santa Rosa, Walton County, Escambia County. We're all kind of Okaloosa and all these other counties kind of split off from. Really great stuff, really interesting stuff, great stories coming up. But this is the first one. I highly encourage you to check it out. Paul, did you know that there was a Civil War skirmish here?
I mean, I don't think I realized that. So you're already educating me. So I'm excited for this series. Big ups to Okaloosa Gas District for sponsoring it. That's amazing. And I think it's really cool that you're not only delivering the news, but you're giving us some history as well. I think there's a lot of people who are going to be interested in this, man. So I'm excited for the series.
Incoming.
Yeah, I mean, I get to make these hilarious.
Get down behind the mound.
They're down behind the mound. Anyway, last thing for us today, the coaching search at Niceville High School continues. Where we left our heroes, they were sitting, scribbling, updating the resumes, hoping to get in for a final interview with Principal Charlie Morello at Niceville High School after the resignation of Coach Richard Morgan. Now, you'll remember last week we said, hey, it's probably going to be there's a very good chance that Coach Adron Robinson, seen there second to the left, is going to be applying for this job, and it appears that has happened. There are other people that have bowed out semi-officially, that have talked to people on this search committee. And this is really interesting, Paul. This time they're not announcing who's on the search committee because of all the chicanery that apparently happened last time. So they're only revealing themselves. There's no announcement of who's on this committee.
Well, show us the graphic real quick on what kind of the timetable for this is. But I would definitely say the smoke around the potential hiring of Adron Robinson is turning into fire. There's a lot of discussion about it. But this is sort of the timetable. You want to take us through the timetable real quick?
Yeah. So basically, they want to move really quickly because they have something like 130 days until the kickoff classic against Fort Walton Beach. So March 30th, they opened up the application window, and it closes on April 6th, which I believe is next Tuesday. It doesn't matter. It's in 4 days. So whatever that is. Today's Thursday. So yeah, whatever. once all those applications are in, there's going to be that committee that sorts through them, racks them, stacks them, and then decides like, hey, here are the 5 people that we're going to interview, right? Once they do that, they're going to have their interviews. And then one of my sources says the next day after the interviews, April 10th is when they're supposed to all be done. They'll likely announce who their new head coach is. July 27th is the first day of official fall practice for football, according to the FHSAA website. And then our kickoff classic, I say our, Niceville's kickoff classic is against Fort Walton Beach on August the 13th. I frankly think that this accelerated timetable very, very heavily supports the I don't want to say incumbents because Coach Robinson is not already the coach, but people that are already in the building will benefit greatly from the way this timetable is structured, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly a timetable that's baked for an internal candidate, someone who's already here. So that's super exciting. And, if we're wrong and it's not Coach Adron, then, there'll be a little bit of egg on our face. But we were pretty early on what we thought this would be. So I'm hoping to come on here in a week and a half or 2 weeks and be able to say we were right.
Yeah, well, Paul, I was born with egg on my face. And just to give you an idea for those of you following at home, I have put a bunch of people's faces on here, but I didn't put any of their names on there, which was in my incredible post site. Hindsight. Wow, what a day. In my hindsight, would have been a really good idea, but we'll just go through them. So, of course, Adron Robinson, second to the left. One name that I thought would never, ever be mentioned again in Niceville because of the way everything went down after the last coaching search was David Brechtel. Apparently, David Brechtel, now an assistant over at Choctaw, who left under, I would say, difficult circumstances, has allegedly been putting his toe in the water to see if that's going to be something. Guys that are definitely out, though, according to either myself or sources I've talked to. Brooks Perry, he's an assistant over there at Niceville right now, does not want the job. David Hedges, former assistant at Niceville, current assistant at South Walton. His boss, Phil Tiza, no. And then Tommy Joe, no. They don't want the job. And frankly, I don't blame them because I think that the Mosley job and the South Walton job are frankly more attractive right now. Over at South Walton, you have less pressure to succeed. You can do a Tom Landry approach and, have a couple of tough years and have a really good year and everybody's just tickled to death, right? 6-win season, 7-win season is pretty good over there. And they've been doing way better than that. So why move, right? Tommy Joe, I mean, he's got the entire area of Bay County to pull from to get his team on the field to be the best team on the field. He's probably being compensated pretty commiserate with that as well. And David Hedges just took that offensive coordinator position at Walton. And frankly, now with the new state legislature's laws passed, he's probably going to make more money than a Niceville head coach would. And it's probably going to cost less for him to live in, the northern reaches of the South Walton district or even in Freeport. So what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is a very hot seat already where the pay is not going to be as good as some of these other places and housing is way more expensive. So just remember that. The vibes are not going to pay the mortgage. Paul, you're quiet.
Been trying to do the research behind the scenes, and it just seems like everything just keeps pointing to Coach Adron.
Yeah. So if I'm a betting man, that's what I'm putting it on. I would give very favorable odds that he's at the very least in the driver's seat.
100%.
Well, right on. Well, we don't have a whole lot else for you guys today, but it's, we're 20 minutes into our 20-minute show. I feel pretty good about that. Look at us go.
Yeah, we hit all the points, and yeah, look at us. Just real quick for those of you, Good Friday is tomorrow, Easter's this weekend. So just I hope you guys have an opportunity to celebrate the Easter season with your family and your friends.
Yeah.
Be nice, Niceville.
I'm going to play the music.
Do it.